When night falls over small American towns, it's not just the streets that go dark, but also the memories of events that were never explained. Some say they're just stories told around the campfire. Others swear they've lived every chilling detail. Welcome to the Urban Legends Week special. Today, we dive into the heart of the United States, a country where terror hides behind friendly smiles, quiet streets, and endless forests. Get ready to hear legends that have endured for decades. Mysteries that defy logic, whispers that echo through generations. And beware, after watching this video, you might think twice before walking alone in the dark. Subscribe, leave your like, and prepare to uncover the darkest side of the American imagination. Now, turn off the lights, and come with me. The United States is known for its films, music, and globally recognized symbols. But beneath the glow of pop culture and modernity, there lies a dark, ancient, and silent side, that of urban legends. These stories, often passed down from generation to generation, began as warnings, advice, or attempts to explain the unexplainable. Over time, they became a vital part of modern American folklore. From the wide fields of the Midwest to the big cities of the East, there's always someone with a story to tell. Something that happened to a mate's cousin's friend. A creature that lives in the abandoned school basement. A figure that appears on the road after midnight. These tales are told with conviction, with eyes that avoid contact and voices that lower in tone, as if the thing might still be around. American soil is vast, and with it come countless perfect settings for legends to be born. Dense forests, silent deserts, ghost towns, roadside motels, and massive national parks where, some say, not everyone who enters comes back. What's more, the country has endured decades of intense change. Wars, economic crises, mass migrations, religious cults, and serial killers have deeply shaped the collective psyche. And it was in this fertile ground of fear, loneliness, and the search for meaning that legends found space to grow. What makes these stories so powerful is their ability to feel real. They feed on familiar details, a real road, a known name, a town that actually exists. They infiltrate everyday life and make us wonder, what if it's true? Now that you know the dark foundation of American culture, it's time to open the doors to the stories that left entire towns haunted, and chilled the spine of anyone brave enough to hear them in the dark. Legend 1. The Woman on the Road. One of the most famous urban legends in the United States is that of the woman on the road. She's known in various versions, but they all have one thing in common: the mysterious figure who appears on lonely roads, at night, in remote places, always near big cities or at dangerous crossroads. The story usually starts the same way. A driver, often a lone traveler or a couple, is driving down a deserted road, far from the city, where the horizon seems to vanish into darkness. It's a quiet trip, with the headlights cutting through the blackness, but something feels off. Sometimes it's a chill that runs down the spine, other times just a feeling of discomfort, as if someone is watching. Then, in the middle of the night, at the most unexpected moment, she appears. A woman of ordinary appearance, wearing plain clothes, sometimes a dirty dress or a worn-out coat, stands by the roadside. Her request for help is always the same: she needs a lift. She says she's lost, that her house is further up ahead, but she can't walk any longer. Her face, no matter how plain, carries an expression of deep exhaustion, as if she had been through something tragic. The driver's first reaction is compassion. He slows down, rolls down the window, and the woman, with a shy smile, asks to get in. However, before the car door is fully opened, she makes a strange movement, something that feels slightly out of place. Her words start to blur, as if she's not entirely there. Something in the way she moves and speaks sparks a feeling of unease. It's hard to explain, but it's as if reality had a glitch. Suddenly, the tension becomes palpable. The driver looks at the back seat, sees something that shouldn't be there. In the rearview mirror, the image of a pale, lifeless figure approaches. He notices the woman has no shadow. She's completely out of place, like an apparition from beyond. In a chilling twist, the woman vanishes as quickly as she appeared, leaving the driver in shock. Some versions of the legend say that those who give her a lift never see her again. Others claim that after the encounter, the driver feels a threatening presence for weeks. Or, more disturbingly, there are those who believe that by giving her a lift, they become part of the story, doomed to drive forever, as a warning to the next unsuspecting soul. The woman on the road remains one of the best-known legends because it taps into a primal fear, the fear of the unknown at our door, the threat disguised beneath an innocent face, and the sense that something watches us at every turn. And while many say it's just another horror story, anyone who's ever been on a deserted road at night may have wondered, for just a moment, what if it's true? The fog was thick, almost too dense to drive through. As the driver, John, sped his car along the deserted road, the sense of unease grew stronger. The trees lining the roadside seemed to close in on him, forming a dark tunnel he desperately wanted to escape. When he saw the woman, his first instinct was to slow down. She was there, standing, leaning against a tree, her silhouette almost invisible beneath the heavy veil of fog. The woman wore a white dress, which reflected a soft light, but what really disturbed John was her empty stare. She wasn't moving. She didn't seem to react at all to the car passing just meters away. A strange feeling ran down his spine, but he kept going, not wanting to seem weak. Suddenly, on a reflex, he glanced in the rearview mirror. And there she was again, now closer, just a few meters from the car. There was no way she could have run there that fast. John's heart raced. He slammed his foot on the accelerator and vanished down the road, not looking back. What if it was true? For John, it was. So real that he can't bear the thought of having lived to remember it. It happened over 20 years ago, and since that day, he's never driven alone at night again. He can't understand how something so inexplicable could have occurred. He remembers very little, except for the nightmare that still haunts him to this day. That night, he decided to tell his wife, who looked at him with a mix of skepticism and concern. When he mentioned the woman on the road, she recalled a story she'd heard from a friend, about a mysterious figure appearing under similar conditions in a distant part of town. However, what disturbed John the most was that, upon looking deeper into it, he discovered that this road was linked to a series of unexplained disappearances. None of the drivers who encountered the woman, or claimed to have seen something, were ever found. John lives with this memory, with the weight of the unexplainable, and there isn't a single night he doesn't ask himself, what if that woman was never human? What if she wasn't there by chance? Legend 2, the Mothman. The legend of the Mothman began in 1966, in Point Pleasant, a small town in the state of West Virginia, USA. The first reports came when locals started seeing a strange figure, large dark wings and glowing red eyes. Those who spotted it described the creature as tall and shadowy, resembling a giant moth, but with an eerie presence, more like something from beyond. The story of the Mothman became increasingly mysterious until, on the 15th of December 1967, the town was struck by a tragedy that forever linked the creature to its history. The Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to the state of Ohio, suddenly collapsed. 46 people died, and many more were injured. Witnesses claimed that, the night before the disaster, the Mothman had been seen near the bridge. Many believed the creature was a warning sign, a harbinger of the catastrophe to come. What if it were true? In 2002, David, a local man, decided to take a trip to Point Pleasant to investigate the Mothman reports. He'd grown up hearing stories about the creature, and now, as an adult, he wanted to understand why so many people were convinced it had some connection to the bridge collapse. David arrived in town at night, and the heavy atmosphere seemed thicker than he'd expected. As he drove across the old bridge site, a chill ran down his spine. Something felt off, like the air was heavier than usual. When he pulled over near the riverbank, he heard a noise coming from the nearby forest. A low humming sound, like something large shifting between the trees. Suddenly, David saw a tall figure with glowing red eyes, exactly like the old sightings had described. He froze, unsure what to do, but something deep inside him told him to start the car and get out of there. What disturbed him most wasn't just the creature's appearance, it was the way it seemed to calmly watch him, as if it already knew he was there. As David drove away, he tried to make sense of what he'd just seen. Was it fear? Was it the power of the town's history? Or had he really encountered something unexplainable? Whatever it was, from that night on, he could never look into the dark the same way again. Legend 3, Bloody Mary. The legend of Bloody Mary is one of the most chilling and well-known urban myths in the United States, and over the years, it spread to other countries as well. The story is simple, yet the tension it stirs is truly haunting. It all starts with a basic ritual, one many are too scared to attempt, standing in front of a mirror in a dark room and saying the name Bloody Mary 3 times, waiting for the supernatural to respond. At first glance, the ritual might seem harmless, but it carries a dark promise. Some say that by doing this, the figure of a woman with bloodshot eyes and a furious expression will appear in the mirror. She may even get closer, and in some cases, attack the person who summoned her. But who is Bloody Mary? Where did this legend come from? The origins of the tale are murky. Some believe she's connected to historical events, like Mary Tudor, also known as Bloody Mary, Queen of England in the 16th century, notorious for persecuting and executing Protestants. Others claim Mary was a woman who suffered a horrific death and, for reasons unknown, became trapped between worlds, doomed to roam through mirrors, waiting for those brave, or foolish, enough to call her name. But what if it were true? In 1993, a teenage girl named Sarah decided to put the legend to the test. One night, during a sleepover with friends, she challenged the others to perform the ritual, not really believing anything would happen. The bathroom was small, but with the lights off and only a sliver of moonlight coming through the window, the scene was set. Sarah, laughing along with her friends, stepped up to the mirror with a mocking grin. In a soft but steady voice, she said, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." Everything seemed normal at first. The girls giggled and made fun of the idea that a simple reflection could turn into something terrifying. But something wasn't quite right. At first, Sarah noticed nothing unusual. But as she looked closer, the shadows in the mirror seemed thicker, as if something was beginning to form behind her. Her eyes widened, and she started to realize the reflection staring back wasn't hers anymore. Instead of her own face, she saw a woman, pale, blood-smeared, with enraged eyes and a smile that felt more like a threat than anything human. The woman in the mirror began to move, slowly, as if she were trying to step out from the reflection and into the real world. Sarah's heart pounded. She tried to step back, but her legs wouldn't move. Her friends, frozen in shock, were also paralyzed by a fear they couldn't explain. What started as a joke had turned into a living nightmare. And then, she came closer. The sound of the mirror cracking made the air feel thick and heavy. Before Sarah could react, the figure began emerging from the surface, as if breaking through a wall of water. She felt something cold touch her shoulder, icy and unnatural. But when she turned around, there was no one there. The mirror returned to normal, reflecting only Sarah and her terrified friends. But the sense of something still being in the room lingered. The silence was deafening, and fear had taken hold of them all. Sarah bolted for the door, but something made her glance back one last time. What she saw wasn't her reflection. It was Mary. Her face now more twisted, smiling again, as if she knew she'd get her eventually. What Sarah didn't realize was that even years later, the legend of Bloody Mary hadn't let her go. She thought she'd escaped the creature, but little by little, strange things started happening in her life. Doors slammed shut on their own. Whispers filled the night. And once again, the mirror began to reflect a familiar and terrifying shape. And what happened to Sarah? She was never seen again after that night. But her story spread throughout the town, and to this day, people say that on nights with a full moon, you can still hear whispers coming from inside the mirrors, as if Bloody Mary is waiting for her next victim. You've just discovered 3 of the most chilling urban legends from the United States. But what's truly terrifying is what remains unanswered. How many people have vanished on empty highways? How many reports of winged figures with glowing red eyes were dismissed? And how many still dare to call out Bloody Mary in front of a mirror? These stories are still told, generation after generation, because deep down, somewhere within us, a part still believes. And if you've made it this far, maybe you felt it too. But be warned, some legends don't just want to be remembered. They want to be lived. Subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and share this video. And if you've ever experienced something similar, let us know in the comments. On the next stop in our series, fear takes on tropical colors. Get ready to face the urban legends of Brazil.